Come read with me. We're reading from Six of One, Half a Dozen of the Other. It's my memoir, my autobiography. My name is Violet Calkins, and you can find my book and 3 others on Amazon if you like. So I'm reading from Birthday Blues. And by the way, if you can see behind me, you might be wondering why the pond or the pool is green. The water's green. It's because I have koi fish in there and a whole ton of little mosquito fish that are in there as well. So because I don't put chlorine in it, it has algae, and algae is actually healthy for the biodiversity there. Okay, so let's get with it. Birthday Blues. February 17, 1966. I would be 16 years old, and I requested my first ever birthday party. Birthdays in my family were not celebrated as in other families. If there was any recognition, it was usually just with a cake, and often one without frosting. Occasionally, the birthday of one of the children was inadvertently forgotten, as happened to Gerald. He was born May 7th, and since it was about the time school let out, the year he turned 7, we completely forgot it. With so many in one family and a birthday almost every month, it was easy to let one slip by unnoticed. There was a child birthday in every month except August and November. There were 2 birthdays in December, July, and September. Both of my parents were born in April. One year I began to feel bad because there was no special attention being paid to the birthdays. I thought something should be done about it, but we had no money and most of us had no toys to speak of. I got an inspiration. I gathered some of the other kids to join in my scheme, and we set about to make sure that Frank's birthday did not slip by uneventfully. We were not the most sensitive children, nor were we far-sighted. We didn't consider the outcome. We found a large cardboard box and a few smaller ones. We wrapped each one in paper, beginning with the smallest, and placed them one inside the others and sealed each as we went. We brought in Frank and sang happy birthday to him. We laughed with glee as he worked his way past the wrapping and the tape of each box, only to discover another one inside. Finally, after working through several wrappings, he reached the last one, which held, to his surprise, nothing but a brick. It never occurred to me or the others that it might have been a cruel joke. We thought it was great fun. How often in these years since have I thought about it and cringed over our thoughtlessness. My 16th birthday was different. I wanted to have a few friends over for games and cake. Mama said it was okay, and I invited several of my friends, took care of the cleaning of the house, and put up streamers and balloons. Inside some of the balloons I had placed little pieces of paper which had instructions on things to do. It was rather like Truth or Dare, but all the activities were harmless. Mama somehow managed to buy me a decorated cake. Even though it was February, we had the party outside. We played a few games and had a great time. Some of my friends even gave me gifts. It was a good party. Holidays, as well as birthdays, were often fraught with leanness. Ho, 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 new chapter. Christmas was usually an exciting time of year, primarily because it was about the only time we got gifts. However, it was also a difficult time. We, like all children, had great expectations and high hopes. I have the Lions Club and other charitable organizations to thank for most of my Christmas gifts. Mama usually made something for us, such as the years she built the small wooden boxes with hinged lids for the girls and put embroidery items in them. She tried to make sure we always had something new. Often, though, many of the gifts that we received were refurbished toys from charity organizations. In 1960, we kids were handed a Sears wish book to look through. Now, that year I was 10. We were told to look for anything we would like to have for Christmas, as long as the price was less than $10. We spent days and days looking through the catalog, trying to decide what wonderful treasures we might be getting for Christmas. We must have thought that Mom and Daddy had come into some money. As it turned out, it seemed like a waste of time and just another dashed hope, because I got nothing I had wished for. I did, however, get the paints. Perhaps a benefactor donated money for our Christmas, and that was what all the searching in the catalog was about. We will never know. On my 12th Christmas in 1962, we received gifts wrapped in colorful Christmas wrap and labeled "From Santa." That was the year I received a Monopoly game. The older children promptly took it over for the day, and I was left out while they spent the entire day playing with my game. Christmas morning was one ritual that never varied. Mama must have stayed up all night sorting and distributing gifts into boxes labeled with each child's name. Most of the time our gifts were not individually labeled or wrapped. Socks, Daddy's white sports socks, were placed on the couch with a paper tag on each one with our names printed to each sock. Inside the sock was an orange, an apple, mixed nuts in the shell, walnuts, filberts, almonds, and Brazil nuts, hard Christmas candy, and sometimes a candy cane. On Christmas morning, the door to the living room was closed, and none of us were allowed to leave our rooms until we were dressed and our beds were made. I think it was the only time of the year that making our beds was required. When everyone was dressed and ready, we were allowed into the room, and it was then a mad scramble to find the box or bag with our name on it. Inside the box, a child might find a stuffed animal, a game, a truck, or a car, a doll, or once in a while, alongside the box, a tricycle or a bike. The smell of the fruit and candy in the morning as we entered the living room was wonderful. We seldom bought a Christmas tree because, like everything else, it was an added expense that we could not afford. However, occasionally one of the children would be lucky enough to bring home the Christmas tree from their classroom on the final day before the Christmas holiday began. Sometimes it would still contain strands of shiny tinsel, but more often than not the tree was bare. Sometimes we children would create colorful chains from the construction paper and glue, or string popcorn on thread with a needle. Our decorations were almost always handmade. Next came breakfast, which was prepared by Mama or one of the older girls. The rest of the day, the small children were busy playing with their new toys and watching the Macy's parade on television. The adults and the older girls set about fixing Christmas dinner, which was usually served around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It consisted of oven-roasted turkey with homemade cornbread stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, candied yams, green beans, and for dessert, pumpkin and lemon meringue pie. I call my 16th Christmas my Black Christmas, not because it was a sad or dismal time. In fact, it was just after I met Dell, and it was an especially happy time. But because every gift I received that year was black. That is, except for the bottle of perfume I received from Dell. I got a black wool sweater, a black stuffed toy poodle dog, a black pen and a pencil set, and a black cameo necklace. All of these things were well suited to me, and I did not mind that they were black. Dell celebrated Christmas with his family on Christmas Eve, so he spent Christmas Day with me. It was probably one of the best Christmases in my early life.